Our next guest on the pod is a New Hampshire local who is now living the California life where he's the doctor of physical therapy, the creator of Runners University, and has a creative mindset on social media where he'll coach, educate, and entertain you all at the same time. He's the owner of Kinetic Potential Physical Therapy, and we're wicked excited to have him on the pod this year for Boston Weeks. The real Michael Scott. Welcome to the On the Runs podcast. What's up, Mike?
Thank you. I am wicked excited as well. It has been a long time since I heard that.
Well, you'll probably hear it a lot tonight.
Yeah,
Got
no,
the
it
Boston
makes
in
me,
us.
yeah, it's nostalgia. It feels good.
Well, you're a New England guy, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in New Hampshire, right down the street from you, Eric. So I went to Pinkerton for high school, rivals, and then off to Northeastern for undergrad and graduate school. And then when I was like 25, moved out here. An ex-wife was going to USC for grad school. So my brother was already living out here, which made the transition really easy.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how I've found my way out here. And yeah, it's been 15 years. So it's
quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
You're from Hampstead and I'm
I
from
am from
Sandown. So those
yeah.
are neighboring towns.
Goffstown, what's up?
Yeah, Goffstown. All right. Yeah.
What year, mind me asking, what year did you graduate from Pinkerton?
2003.
So I'm in 04. So like we grew up like very much the same time. We've never met, of course, but this is our first time meeting. But we kind of connected the dots like a year ago when we found each other on Instagram. And I'm like, hold on a second. I see pictures of you on Facebook like on occasion because your wife went to high school with me.
Yes. Yeah. And I think was her brother in your grade?
He might have been. You know what? Maybe a couple years younger, actually.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, he's 4 years younger. Sorry. So yeah, so it'd be a couple years off. But yeah, there's definitely the connection there. This is like bound to happen.
Right. What a small world. What
Yes.
a small world. And then Erica's all excited because she goes, "Wait a second. His name is Mike Scott, but do you think his real name is Michael?" And she got all horned up about it.
And I always say this. College was like tough with that. Like anytime.
I believe it.
Meeting new people. But I always remind people the year I was born, 1984, I believe the National League Cy Young Award winner's name was Michael Scott. Nobody remembers that. There's his
Pop culture one.
His baseball card is on my fridge. Like I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. So I always reference that. But I was starting to tell you guys that like literally an hour and a half ago, I filmed a version of the Michael Scott parkour scene.
Oh my God.
That like I'm going to be posting it this Friday. By the time this comes out, that will already have posted. But
excellent.
Yeah. So it's me. It's like this one character I came up with years ago. The only character that I do in any of my social media. His name is Albie Runin for I'll Be Running. And he's just he's like the wicked, hyper masculinized running influencer. And he's just always yelling at you or like doesn't have clothes on or it's just like absurd. But he's taking people through the perfect running warm up, which happens to be parkour. So.
Oh, excellent. I am very much looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, it's going to be, it'll be good. It'll be good. It's just
Parkour. I think we should jump to the social media thing right now then, because you brought it up and it's part of the notes. Just like I said, we might go all over the map here. But when we found you somewhere, I think through our friend Beard, as we like to call him, we start to see all this social media content you're putting out. And one, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's educational. And you just talked about like you're planning something, you just filmed it and you know exactly when it's going to drop already. So you put a lot of work into this stuff, it looks like, when you check out your Instagram.
It's like, it's definitely a hobby. My work is not necessarily creative. There's some physical therapists and coaches that will say like, oh, it's very creative. You get to come up with all these exercises or whatnot. But to me, it's like, that's not the creativity I necessarily will think of when I think of it. And social media is totally a creative outlet for me. So I do spend a lot of time thinking of it. Like what would make a funny meme? What will make people laugh? But what can help educate people? I do think that, social media lends itself to people who might be well-intentioned, but don't necessarily take the time to find the research or the data or like think things through fully. They just think they have to put content out. And I think that leads to some people being misinformed or having only part of the picture. And so I try every week to put like one informative piece out, and everything else is just for laughs because it makes me laugh. And basically that's like the sniff test. Did I laugh while making this? And if so, like,
Gotcha.
it's going up. It's going up.
It passes. Go.
And for a long time, when I first started like creating running content, I was like super insecure about it because I didn't want people to think like, oh, like my whole personality is running, because it's like, it's really not. But on social media, if you saw me, you'd be like, oh, this dude, all he does is think and talk about running. But that, you know, couldn't be further from the truth. But I do think about it quite a bit, because it's just like things that I laugh, things that I see. How does this relate? How could this help somebody understand VO2 max, or, you know, hill sprints like I did the other day, or like whatever it is. So I don't have a social media calendar or schedule or whatever. It's like I like posting on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
There you go. Space it out a little bit
It's
so
sustainable.
people can take their time with their content, and
Yeah.
you're kind of giving the best of both worlds. You're bringing them in with the humor and some funny little things here and there, but you're also hitting them with some education. So that's definitely,
It's like
definitely worth it.
I'm an educator at heart. You know, I do like teaching and do like giving people information that they can then use. But it's like I'm not like the most engaging guy. Like if I'm just sitting here talking head stuff, it's not usually the greatest or most engaging. But if I can get somebody to laugh, usually you can get them, you know, hooked to maybe swipe a carousel or watch your video for a couple more seconds and learn something. So that's
Yeah, because you do it all. You got the carousel ones. I was just laughing my ass off viewing a few of them right before we hit record, and I'm like, you got the, oh, you're a runner, you must feel great all the time. But the picture was of a guy looked like he was all worn out and smoking
the
a
smoker
cigarette.
guy.
And, yeah, and I was just reading a couple of those. I'm like, that's funny. So you come up with some funny stuff. The other thing I like is some of the reels you post, and you're very creative with your videos and how you dress up sometimes. And I got a couple here I want to play, and then we can talk about.
Oh boy, am I going to see these on the screen?
Yes, I'm actually.
It's like roulette. What's going to show up here? This is.
It can't be that bad.
No, I made them. I can't be embarrassed about it. I made them, but it's probably like farts and poop and.
Well, hello, you came to the right place.
Yeah.
Like
It is
that's
on the
what
run,
we're all
right?
about.
It is on the run.
Yep.
All right, so I picked out two of these. We're gonna watch these, and for all you on YouTube, you'll get to see them, and all you listening, you'll get to hear. It's pretty funny. So here's number one.
Oh, it's Albie.
Warm up. Waste my energy. I got 26.2 miles to run. You know, I trained for a 3:10, but I'm feeling pretty good this morning, so I'm gonna go for that sub 3.
That was me.
Strength training. I ain't got time to strength train. I was logging like 70 to 80 miles a week. Brother, I ain't got no fuel strategy. I'm a keto runner. I don't need any of that because I am fat adapted.
That's me. I'm fat adapted.
That's Albie Runin, by the way. He's coming back Friday.
Now that I see him, I cannot wait for your new video.
Oh
I think
God,
that's gonna be great.
it's more absurd. Yeah.
So you watch these videos, they're funny, they're entertaining, and then you actually write a lot if you go and read all the content. And you give a lot of good, useful information there on the content.
That's there's an app called Notion, and it's basically like it's like Google Drive, and it's just my way of organizing things. So if I read something about oxygen deficit, you know, and warm-ups, for instance, in that one. Like if I read a study about that, it goes into the file, and I can just easily reference and pick out the study and whatever like pertinent information I wrote up about it. So it speeds up that process. And after reading this stuff for years and years, it is a lot
It's
faster
like second
to
nature
do.
to
And
you
like,
then, huh?
like there's like a really solid stable of studies that I like just continually go to. One, they're well done studies, and two, the information I think is just something that continually needs to be heard by people. And I saw the other reel that you had picked out, Eric. It was the like all the things that runners need to do with Vicky. Yeah, so Vicky told me, you know, say it once and assume that nobody heard it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I can just like keep repeating this stuff. Like it doesn't have to be new. it can just be the same message repeated over and over.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I mean, we all know this on social media, like none of our followers see this stuff. And so like, okay, maybe certain people might notice the overlap every once in a while, but in reality, like, and somebody new is going to see it every time, even if it's your followers, because it's like 5%, 3 to 5% of the people that are following us will actually see those things. And so it's like, oh, cool. There's a lot of freedom here to, oh, let me bring that up again. I wrote this, you know, I reposted things. And like, if something goes viral once, chances are it's going to go viral again. But still, even at that, it's like nobody that follows you saw it. So post it again.
The algorithm is so weird with Instagram and stuff. And I mean, plus if it's super, super useful information, why not share it again anyways? Even if, say, I've seen it a couple of times, I'll be like, oh, this is a good reminder. So whoever gets to see it, I think it's worth it to keep posting.
Sorry, bringing the mic back here.
It's actually pretty cool when you go into the stats on Instagram and you can see like the percentage of followers who really saw it and the percentage of non-followers. And you're right. When the things hit, it's a huge percentage of non-followers that see it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool stats. And the one thing I did bad on that last video was some context. Every time you heard the boom music, it said DNF because you were showing the guy. What do you say his name was? LB. He was like, I'm going to go out hard. I'm going to do a sub 310, even though I've been training for 330 or whatever. And it said DNF because he went out too hard. So I kind of like that. It was entertaining in a way and kind of making fun of it. And the other one I got here is one where I think you had some fun making fun of some people in a light manner, not like, oh, you guys stink, but
we all know these people.
Man, I am really struggling to hit my paces lately.
Well, are you doing your interval runs, tempo runs, stride, long runs, and track sessions every week?
What? Who has time for that?
Are you taking at least 5 to 8 gels per run?
Watch me finish half a granola bar in the car before I run. I typically run at 5 a.m.
At least you're getting 8 hours of sleep, right?
I just told you I run at 5 a.m. Of course I don't.
Yeah, but you at least have carbon-plated shoes and a proper shoe rotation.
These shoes have 700 miles on them with a hole in them.
Then up to 70 to 100 miles per week because, that's what the best in the world are.
The best in the world also nap twice a day, have sponsors. I have a 9 to 5. Wait, did you quit your job?
No. Well, at least you're fueling correctly. 60% of your calories from carbs, 45 calories per kilogram of body weight.
First of all, what the is a kilogram?
yes.
No.
You should really get 8 hours of sleep.
That was great.
That
was great because you know what, Mike? It's so relatable, man. That was so relatable. A busy dad life, kids, 9 to 5 job. You get up at 5 in the morning to run. So, of course, I'm not getting the sleep. That, I feel like, is our core listeners here on the podcast. And I think you totally...
What the F is a kilogram?
And so the one you're making fun of is like the run influencer or maybe in some cases coaches who are like, you need to do all this stuff if you're going to be elite. And it's just like, I just want to run, man, and stay healthy.
Right. I think we forget. I mean, I am always humbly reminded by Katie, my wife, that you're not elite and the people I follow are. Like, I'm like, oh man, Clayton Young is doing double sessions and racking up 100 miles a week. And she's like, dude, you like literally run 2 businesses and have kids. Like you cannot do that. That's his job. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't add anything more to the plate. So yeah, that one was, I actually had seen some skit related, I think actually maybe to CrossFit, no, it was like New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions of these 2 guys going back and forth. And I was like, oh, this is 2 runners talking for sure. And one of them is very serious and one of them is very not serious. So that was like, oh yeah, there's like things like that. I mean, you spend, I don't know, I always get the alert, like you spent your hour on Instagram for the day. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I came up with one good idea for the next week and I'm totally fine with that. So
I spend an hour or more on Instagram and I just keep sending Erica reels and I said, we should try this. We should try this. And then when we finally get together for a run, we forget about it all or we run out of time to try anything.
I'm really hesitant to film anything while running because I really can't do anything except suffer when I run. Even like an easy run, it's just like I look so terrible when I do like, and as we all know, like race day photos are just like the worst photos. But if you just take any picture of me running that I've like ever taken, I'm like, oh my God, these are so bad. So yeah, I film all
If
my
I'm
stuff
gonna
either
do
in the gym or I'll make like a photograph.
That's smart.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do any sort of video while I'm running, it's going to be within the first like 30 seconds of the run so I can actually focus on what I'm doing for the rest of it, because I don't want to be messing with my phone. Like, I'm not going to focus. It's just
Yeah.
going to be a mess. And plus, I'll be sweaty and God knows what
Well,
I'll look like. And yeah, 30 seconds or less.
I do mine in the middle of the run when I'm talking to the pod fam on Instagram, but it's only when I really need a break. So when you see me posting those little stories, it's like
Smart.
I need to slow down for a second. Hey guys, what's going on? It's a great run. I'm catching
That's-
my breath.
That's very
what I
smart,
mean.
Thievery.
actually.
yeah.
Yes. And you, perfect transition. You went right to running there, and we went to Sufferfest and the photos and everything. Let's talk running. We are a running podcast, and we love running stories. Let's hear yours. How did this journey begin for you?
Man, let's see. The original like running story going back to college. Well, let's go back 1 year to my senior year of high school. I broke my ankle playing volleyball,
Oh,
and
no.
I proceeded to put on 70 pounds in 3 months.
Whoa.
No.
Yeah, hormones are a crazy thing when you combine them with
Oh.
enough junk food and beer.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, and so I was really, really husky my senior year, and so I graduate. I had lost a little bit of the weight at the end of the year, but a good friend of mine at Boston University was like, he was in ROTC, and he said, "Hey, man, I have to run 3 times a week, 3 miles per run. Do you want to join me around the Charles River?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Let's make it work." And so I started then, and so initially not the reason I would suggest anybody necessarily pick up running, but was to lose weight, and it worked great. Combined with more sensible eating and strength training. But I really
Package deal.
started to actually enjoy running versus like growing up playing sports where running was always the punishment. And so like a lot of us just grew up with this like really negative thought process around running. But when I was choosing to do it and saw that it was good for my health, I changed my tune on it, and I continued to run pretty much through college, probably somewhere between 10 and 15 miles a week. But when I moved out here, I took up powerlifting and really focused on deadlifting and some squatting, a little bit of bench press. But I got pretty good at the deadlift. But you have to like spend a tremendous amount of time working on one thing. Like, oh, me pick up heavy thing, me put heavy thing down. And that's like literally like I did a lot of that. And I didn't run for like 6 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So like just totally put it aside, wanted to get as strong
Yeah.
as I possibly could, which was fun. But deadlifting meet or powerlifting meets are like such a strange thing. It's like so opposite the world of running. And it's like heavy death metal. I mean, the amount of candy that's around is kind of similar. But it's
I'm
like
kinda
big
shocked,
dudes who are
actually.
like, can't even scratch their own back like that. It's just like totally different. But I digress. So Katie and I moved to a part of Los Angeles known as Manhattan Beach. It's a really nice area where we were 3 or 4 miles away from the beach. Not a ton of traffic in that area, which is surprising, but really nice area to run in. And Katie was working for Lululemon at the time and approached me one day and said, "Hey, I want to run the Seawees half marathon up in Vancouver." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Go for it." And she's like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't run in like a decade." And so I think I joined her for like the first week or something of training. And I don't think either of us really knew what we were doing. But like once again, I was like, "Oh yeah, I really enjoyed this." And I think it was a 2018 or 2017 or 2018. And I ended up really enjoying it. Somehow got through with running twice a week. one short run, one long run. And I remember
Okay.
very, very specifically, it was like an 8-week long program. There was the short run was like 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the long run was just twice that. Like that was, and like I did it twice.
Gotcha.
Like I went through that twice, and that was the program. I was like, wow.
So
okay.
were you still lifting and stuff while you were doing this
Yeah, I
this
was like
run
lifting,
program
but
to get you ready?
not as much as far as like trying to deadlift 3 times my body weight. So,
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, okay, I want to stay strong, but
Yep.
running still wasn't a priority. And then through the next couple of years, did a couple more half marathons, a couple 5Ks, a couple 10Ks, and then COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
Katie was, she was a couple months pregnant when March came around, and she was like, "You need to get out of the house." And I was like, "Yeah, if we want to survive this, I think I should." And so
Yeah.
I just literally started running the same 7-mile loop like every day. And it was just 7 miles, and I was I would run as fast as I could for 7 miles every time. And it was like exactly what we know not to do if you're trying to get better.
I
But
see. Yep.
yeah, so I'm like 7 miles. Oh, like I would beat it by like 3 seconds one time, and be like just so excited. And then I said, I want my goal to be able to run sub 7 minutes for 10 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't do it like for months and months and months. And so I finally reached out to a friend of Katie's at Lululemon, who ended up being my run coach for a long time, Blake Raymond. And he was like, dude, you need to slow down on like all your runs and you'll get that. And like literally like a month later, I like crushed the 10 miles. And I was like, oh, there's something to this. Like there's just like with powerlifting, you don't just go and lift your max every time. Like you actually have to program this stuff and have a good understanding of how the body works and recovers. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that really like that, it was like, that was it. I was so hooked at that moment. And then, my wife has our first daughter. We have our first child, our daughter. And I'm just toying with this idea, like, can I run a marathon? Can I run a marathon? Can I run a marathon?
Okay.
And so
Planting the seed.
yeah. And so my daughter was born in June, and that November, I woke up. I remember being like, I'm going to go see if I can run a marathon. And
So you just like
I literally
went out and did your own.
I filled a Ziploc bag with gummy bears, and I brought 20 ounces of water, and I ran my first marathon.
Wow. I'm all for the gummy bears, but I need about 200 ounces of water.
Oh, I was so dead. Like I was a prune finishing the last mile was basically uphill. We lived at the top of a hill, every direction, downhill when you leave, every direction uphill when you finish. And I was dead. I remember I sat down on the couch because it was COVID. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday morning. I still had to work. I was doing remote PT.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I sat down on the couch. I like moved my legs as I started a virtual session with somebody, and I got the worst possible cramps I could ever imagine. My legs and my body, like you see people get hit with the tasers, like that was my body. My body
They lock
like,
up, right?
and
Yeah.
I remember the guy.
Oh,
I still actually work with this guy that was watching me basically have a seizure on camera, and he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "It's a cramp," and he's like, "Okay, as long as you're talking."
You
you're
got
fine.
video of this?
No video of this. I wish.
Oh.
Man. It was.
he just had a witness.
Yeah, no, yeah. Katie was the witness too. Yeah, she
Oh,
was like,
no.
"What is wrong with you?" And it was at that point actually. I didn't even tell Katie I did it. She's like, "How far did you run today?" And I was like, 26.2 miles.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So that was my first marathon. That will forever be.
Well, I'm glad you took the shot because, as Michael Scott said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you took the shot. You got to feel what it was like, and I hope there was a second marathon after this.
Yeah. At that point, Blake was like, "Oh, you might want to tell me you're going to do that next time. I could help you out." So
Right.
At that point, he's like, "All right, let's try to see if you can qualify for Boston." But during COVID, like races were being scheduled, but also being canceled. And that actually ended up happening with the first marathon qualifier that I was training for. They canceled it like 2 weeks before it happened. It was like such BS. But I wouldn't have gotten it.
Well, wait, what
I-
was your
I-
marathon time then when you ran the first marathon and you didn't tell anyone you were going to run it?
3:33.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Holy
So-
shit, dude.
Yeah, it was.
But you were dead.
Yeah, dead. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I took years off of my life with that one. Like my
Well,
kidney,
your
and
hair didn't
liver
go
are
gray,
like-
that's for sure.
What was that?
It
Sorry.
was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Your hair
Yeah.
didn't go gray though.
No, not well. Yeah, it's starting. That didn't show up till the kids.
That's a great story. That's a classic spare no details kind of running story. So your coach was like, maybe you should have told me. Katie was like, maybe you should have told me too
Yeah.
in case you died.
So, with your spouse, share my location just so you know when you're coming home and all that stuff. So she said she did look to see where I was because she said it seemed like I had been gone for a while. And where I was running is known as Bayona Creek. And so it's actually, it's like if you watch the movies where you have the LA River, and the LA River is really just an aqueduct, which is a like cement aqueduct.
Yes.
So next to it, so part of that comes all the way down to where we were living, and next to it, there's just like a walkway. And I was 13 miles away in what looked like the middle of the LA River. And I'm like, okay, if you thought anything was wrong, like you should have called. Like, if you thought I was dead in the middle of the Bayona Creek, why didn't you call? And so,
Nothing to
she
see
was
here.
like,
No need to be alarmed.
I could have been dead in the middle of the creek, but I wasn't, and I made it back. And so I was like, hey, next time, call if you think something's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you and Blake get together. Blake's your coach, and you discuss now the Boston qualifier.
Yes.
And you didn't get it that first real attempt. Where was that attempt?
The first attempt scheduled was going to be Mountains to Beach Marathon, it starts in Ojai, California, which is up in the hills, and it's a extreme. It's a significant net downhill. I think it's 600 feet net downhill. However, there is 600 feet of elevation along the way, which I was ill prepared for. That I actually ended up running it. Another story. So that was going to be my first marathon. It gets canceled. That was in May. In December, one of Katie's friends who runs a charity in Boston reached out and was like, hey, Katie, do you or your husband want to run Boston next year? So this was, I think it must have been the 2022 Boston Marathon.
Okay.
And Katie's like, just got, we had our son in 2021 in October. And so, or September, excuse me. And so Katie was like,
I forget my kids' birthdays too, Mike. It's cool.
There's a lot going on that time of year. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? I already ran this other one. Like maybe if I train, keep training, I should be able to do this. So I go out. My first run is scheduled to be a half marathon time trial. So we can kind of dial in what we need to do. Do I need to work more speed? Do I need to work more endurance? 2 miles into it, tear my calf.
No.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I know how these charity things work. I got to call this guy like right away.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal. Wasn't a big deal. He's like, yeah, cool. Circle back next year. We'll do it next year.
Mm-hmm.
So go through the rest of 2022. I think it took like 3 months to recover really before I think I really went out and ran again. Like with any consistency, but end of 2022 comes around. I reach back out and he's like, yep, got a bid for you if you want it. I just had to raise $7,000 and it was for the Phoenix.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, we know the Phoenix very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great. It was, I was much more cautious going out with training, and I knew like, okay, I'm just going to run this to have fun. And in my head, I'm a super competitive person. So I'm like, I better beat that 3:33 or like something's wrong here. So I was like, so nervous, training and, am I going to get hurt? Am I going to be able to do this? I know I've run a marathon. I know I can just run it. But I wanted to do as best as I could.
Yeah.
yeah, and I told you I reached out to a Bearded Runner, and because he dated one of Katie's really good friends, and that's actually how I met Dan. So it's
Interesting.
just
I was
like
gonna
Was
see if
this
it was like an
pre-beard
Instagram
or
thing or something.
this
post-beard?
was as the beard was growing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I met Dan.
I've seen some pictures of him pre-beard, and I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Does Dan know who he was without the beard?
I don't know either. Yeah.
Yeah. So Boston holds such a special place in my heart because I went to school in Boston. I was there for 7.5 years and went out and watched every single one that I was there. It's like the best weekend of the year in Boston.
Isn't it?
Yes,
Like stars
absolutely.
in my eyes.
Yeah, it's like cue the music. It's just so good. The energy is so good. It's just this one big like 3-day, 4-day party of great energy. It was a lot different, obviously, when I was in college because it was an actual party. But this time, going out there and being able to go back and actually take part in going to the expo, going to some of the events, seeing other friends who were running it was really special. And I know there's people who say like once you run a world major, like get out of the way and leave it for the new people. Fuck that. With this race for me. Now, I will say I probably won't run London again. I probably won't run Chicago again because I actually do share that sentiment a little bit. But Boston is has such a special place in my heart. Like it's we'll call it like my hometown. Like there are formative years that were spent in Boston. So any chance I can get to go back, absolutely. Like I'm like if I didn't qualify this year to go out and run, I was like, Katie, you got to go like be the charity runner so I can go back with you just so we can do this.
Yeah.
And as far as qualifying goes, like I don't know, there's so many stories here, but I did not think I qualified. I missed the gap, but my understanding of how the age brackets work for the Boston Marathon was somehow incorrect because it makes absolutely no sense. So I qualified in London with a 3-hour 19-second marathon. Now I was 39 when I ran that.
Oh, but because the Boston
Because
Marathon would have been, you would have been 40,
when
right?
I was running it. That's the age they take you at. And so I'm sitting here literally queuing up.
It's good to know.
It is.
I'll be 40 soon.
I'm sitting there literally queuing up meme after meme after meme about how you qualify but don't get accepted, which had happened the year prior. And I was just going to repost them, be like, this is going to be my one post, all done. And I opened on my email to take a screenshot of my denial. And it's literally like, Michael, congratulations on this. And I was like, wait a second. This isn't what I expected. And literally like the whole day, I saw the BAA announcement in the morning. It was like, oh, I missed it. I didn't make it by those 4.5 minutes.
So you had that email sitting there all day
all day.
long.
Didn't even know. I'm terrible with email. I'm terrible. If you don't tell me I have an email, I don't know I have an email. So yeah, so I'm just sitting there all day, not knowing, thinking I got denied, being and totally fine with it. Like the standards are the standards, and I always equate it to college. Like you can have the grades that make it okay for you to apply to a certain college, but they don't have to take you based on whatever. Like that's just how the majors work. So that was my experience with Boston. So I was so stoked. I was hopping on another call with somebody literally 20 seconds after I found this out, and I'm just yeah, we're going to Boston.
How you rein it in from that?
I had a tough time doing that. But okay, so I want to go back to Boston the first time. Run it. All is fine. All is well. It was great. Awesome experience. Got poured on in 23.
It's 22, right?
23. 23 was torrential
We were there
downpour.
cheering.
Yeah.
It was quite soggy.
Yeah, and you guys are at 19, so you got it pretty good. So I got it from mile 13 on, basically. It seems like I ran with the storm. It just followed me. I run that, and I ran a 3:17 and was so excited. That went way better than I thought. But in my head, I was like, I can qualify. I could qualify right now. So stupid. So stupid. So we get back from Boston 2 days later, And I look back at that Mountains to Beach marathon, which is 5 weeks later. And there's a waiting
Okay.
list. There's a waiting list of 200 people. And I put my name on that waiting list and just was like, I'm not even going to tell Katie I'm doing this, because 200 people dropping out of a race that has a total of 3,000 people is probably pretty rare. Well, by literally the next day, there was like 50 people ahead of me. And I was like, oh, uh-oh.
I might have to tell her at dinner.
I might have to tell Katie. So sure enough, like the next day it was like down to 30. And I was like, hey, Katie, like I'm going to go try to do this if this works out. And she's like, okay, that's fine. And so I ended up getting in like that week, which I was like, that's insane, that 200. But something tells me like there were a bunch of people who signed up for it, like and ran Boston just in case they didn't like requalify to use that.
See.
And so yeah, Mountains to Beach is a way different story. There's nobody cheering you on, and it is mentally just so much harder when you have a million people screaming. And I had my name like plastered on my chest, so everyone. At one point, the guy who was running basically next to me for the first half of it was like, "Man, I wish my name was Mike." Like when you have that many people screaming your name, it's like so motivating. There's not
you feel like a celebrity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's not a single soul screaming anybody's name in Ventura, California for this marathon. And it was net downhill, which like, okay, like it's going to be tough on the quads. I get it. Like, yeah, that's fine. I cramped. It's fine. My toes were so bloody by the end. I mean, just like from getting crammed in the front of your shoe for 3 hours. Like,
oh no.
I actually went to the medical. So I go to the medical tent. And I'm like, I just need to get these socks off. Like, if we could just bandage these up, just so I'm not bleeding everywhere, that's totally fine. And so I'm like, I'm in there. I'm one of the only people in the tent. But, like, people start rolling in. I'm like, I am in way better shape than any of these people. They're like, in my 5 minutes that I ended up probably being there, maybe 10 minutes, I saw 4 ambulances leave. And I'm like, I am in way better shape than all this. People getting dragged across the finish line. I'm like, this is not like Boston at all. And I had to remember, like, Boston is people that qualified, so they're experienced. They have an idea of, like, how to put together a race plan. The people that were at this race, it's known as, like, your Southern California Boston qualifier. These people are, like, trying their hearts out and leaving it all out there. And some of them left it all out there. I mean, it was crazy. It was like a battle scene. Like, I that is hyperbole, but, like, there was lots of people who needed the medical tent. I was like, I'm just gonna like slowly like and just fade out.
Yep, I'm okay.
I was like, I do not belong in here. Like, and so that was, but I got my qualification by 15 seconds.
Excellent.
So
nice.
Didn't get accepted with that one because it was like,
is that the 5-minute buffer that
it was the big
like
one.
a 5:06 or a 5:41.
Yeah, it was the big one. Yeah, so I was like, okay, better luck next year. Yeah, and so my next marathon was London in 24, so last year. And
so is the world majors a goal of yours now? You've done London and I think Chicago. Are you going to go for the other eventually one day 9?
I'll keep putting my name in, but yeah, by the time I get into them, it's going to be like, oh yeah, your 10 medals like get you the world. Like it's fine. Like I haven't run LA and I haven't run Long Beach, and those are my backyard, and they're pretty well respected and they're very big. I mean, LA Marathon just happened. It's an awesome event. It is like so hilly. It's crazy.
What's the vibe like compared to Boston? Like, do you go and cheer or watch or?
I have. I didn't this year. With Katie was busy doing. I think Katie was doing a photo shoot for somebody. She's a photographer, so I had daddy duty. And didn't want to bring the kids up there. I live like, even on a weekend, it's 40 minutes away, like from the course. LA, well, yeah, it's not.
LA's
not
huge.
Bad. LA's the city of Los Angeles is the size of the state of Rhode Island.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
I don't think I've ever had it put to me like that. So yeah. I just know LA is gigantic. But
and
wow.
You combine that with the fact that I think it's 8 million people are in LA proper. Like, there's just always a traffic jam, even on the weekend. So it's like, you got to pick and choose wisely.
Yeah.
Are you excited, or are you going to run out of town when the Olympics come?
Depends on what Airbnb prices are doing.
Oh yeah.
Smart. Very smart.
Come home, visit the family
It
for a
could
couple weeks,
easily
and
pay
probably
for it,
pay 2
yes.
years of your mortgage.
Yes, it could easily pay for that. So we actually was it a little over a year ago, finished building an ADU, and my mother-in-law moved out, and so now she lives in the ADU. So there's an ADU in the front that we could rent out, and then we have our house that we could rent out. And yeah, we're talking a nice vacation. Not only could we come back home, we could also shoot over to Europe probably. I mean, it's
how
insane.
many?
Wow.
You could do all the world majors with that money.
Almost. This
Yeah.
Boston is costing a really nice vacation to Hawaii. And I'm going to run 26 miles that I have literally done in my backyard before. So it's 26.2 everywhere you go.
It's for the experience, man. It's
Yeah,
for
for
the
sure.
experience.
Like I said, it's all about that weekend.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this year's Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
How did you get into this one? And are you coming? You said you're going to be in the city for the entire weekend. Like, are you taking the whole family? What's the game plan? How's Boston going to be this year?
Boston is going to be awesome for many reasons. One, I love my kids dearly, but to be away from my kids for 6 days is like, it's such a refresh and a restart. They are 15 months apart and they are 3 and 4 years old. And it's crazy. It's craziness in our house. And so Katie and I are going to go. My mom's going to fly in and help my mother-in-law out with the kids, which they did for London and for Chicago. We're
that's
like
awesome.
so blessed to have them helping us out with this.
That'll be great grandparent bonding time with your kids.
They
so
say,
perfect.
oh, it's tough. And, they're not in their 30s and 40s and they're looking after these 2 rugrats. So, we pick and choose wisely. But so last time we did Boston, we brought the kids, and I think Jack was a year and Emerson was 2 years. So that was tough. That was like, I was probably up 10 times the night of the marathon because just like my kids are terrible sleepers, and you put them in a space that they're unfamiliar with, and it's just not a recipe for success on their end. So
you mean you didn't get your 8 hours of sleep that night?
I have not. I don't think I've gotten 8 hours of sleep in 4 years.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like this year's going to be a little bit better.
This year will be better. Absolutely.
The nerves will be under control and you'll be able to get a good night's sleep before.
Yeah. So there's that. There's, just being submersed within the running culture and world a little bit more than 2 years ago, and having made many more connections. So people that I want to connect with and see, and, make more stories and memories, and just, go to the expo and yeah, that's kind of what I'm really looking forward to. Just the weekend as a whole. Like, the running is a great bonus. The running, like, I don't love the act. Like, I don't know, people are crazy, but like loving the act of running is so weird. Like, you either love to torture yourself, which is fine. Like, you can be a sadist and enjoy the running. But I love the procedure of it. I love the training. I love the fact that it keeps me very regimented and routine, focused on a routine. Like, I love all of that. Like, I function at my best when I'm doing that, and running definitely helps me with that. But the 3-hour sufferfest for me, and then like for everyone up to 6 hours plus, like, that's not necessarily like the greatest. Like, it's cool to like be back there, and, party pace wins the race, which is, running the LA Marathon or the Long Beach Marathon, like, could really shift my idea of like what a marathon is, probably, if I'm just out there to have a good time and see some people and make some memories. But Boston this year is about requalifying and trying. I did strain my hamstring like 7 or 8 weeks ago, so that like sidelined me for a little bit, and it's going to be a photo finish this year, as I like to say. Miracle on Boylston Street.
Gotcha.
If it happens. So but
you're going to be flying by us. We're going to be at mile 19, and all we want is a wave. That's even if you just like don't even look
sign
at us.
is going to be a huge
we got that
huge plus. I've seen the videos. I'm usually a pretty big power up guy, but you said like, what could you have for me at mile 19? And the word is a bulldozer for the 2 miles of hills that are about to hit me at that point.
Oh,
If you could just
I'm thinking like, what is that? Is that like a peanut butter or something?
no, but
or
I mean that yeah. Eat bulldozer. Yeah, like
We could rent
honestly,
one,
that's
but I
my
don't think the
first
police would
thought.
let us roll it up the hill by the
Yeah.
John Kelly statue.
yeah,
And
right. No, he stays. He stays.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But yeah, if
funny.
you could just flatten out those hills for me, that'd be great.
I wish.
Yeah, no, I'll
Is
have
there
all my
anything we could bring for you?
I'll
Like,
have
we'd
all
love
my
to have
gels,
like
and I'll have just good energy. Always good energy.
all right.
Like, yeah,
well, we got that for you in spades.
awesome.
So then what is your fueling strategy when you go into these races and when you have a big goal like that? Are you the particular gel or energy drinks? Do you even hold a water bottle? Do you pull from the aid stations? What's your plan?
I know I make fun of it endlessly on Instagram, but I am a Morton's user. Hi, my name is Mike. I use Morton's, and it's the only gel I'll use because I have a little sensitive tummy, and it's really the only
No
one
Code
that
Browns.
doesn't give me Code Browns.
Good.
Although Huma gels also agree, but I found out why. You digest them much slower, so it's not going to hit you till later. But you also don't,
that post-race Code Brown.
you don't
You want
yeah.
to celebrate, you're at the
Yeah, you're
bar
like,
having
oh,
a
is it
beer or something,
the
and then
beer
all of a
and the
sudden,
gel?
boom.
Yeah, like no, it's not a good mix. So, yeah, but because they digest slower because they are made with real food, you're not going to
It's
get
like chia, right?
chia. Yeah, you're not going to get the carbohydrates out of it as quickly. Where Morton's is just like, hey, here's some rocket fuel. I know it's like $5 a pack, but good luck. And so I'm a Morton's guy. They have it on course, which is really nice. They
Excellent.
also use Gatorade electrolytes, which agree with me perfectly fine. I carried a water bottle for London, and it was fine. But like even carrying 16 ounces of water for 7 miles, like your arm gets tired. So then I threw it into the crowd with Katie.
Perfect.
So my fueling strategy is just based on my pace and the length of time I would be running would be every 20 minutes taking in 25 grams of carbohydrates, which puts you at somewhere between 75 plus electrolytes, 75 to 90. But then, I mean, not to get all sciencey, but like you don't absorb all 25. And so you think roughly about 80% of that. And so you're really sitting closer to 60 to 85, which is
Okay.
perfectly fine. Like that is great for someone who is running roughly like the pace I'm going for, like 3 to 4 hour. And if you're, if someone were going longer, like that would be an insane amount of gels to take. Like you do not need to take that if you're going more in the 5 and 6 hour range. So yeah, because I'm keeping it hopefully closer to 3 hours than 60 to 90 grams per hour, essentially is what I'm shooting for. And then pre-race dinner is
Oh yeah, the good stuff.
Oh no, I'm somewhat superstitious. And so,
do you tend to eat like the same thing every
and
every
it's
race?
not. It's like really tough to get, and I don't know how I stumbled upon it. But digestives, are you familiar with digestives?
Those like cookies?
They're like English cookie like wafers covered in chocolate, but they're just
I
an
have heard of
insane
those.
amount
I don't know.
of carbohydrates. And like you eat a sleeve or two of those, and you're doing okay on your carb load. And then
Okay.
buttered noodles, and like that's dinner.
Tried and true.
Bagels, bananas. Day of is a little more like a banana, a bagel or toast with jelly, no butter.
Well, this is a late start, so you might even have to like plan to eat more because
Something else,
a lot of
yeah.
the races you might run locally are early starts. But like you might be running by 10 at the best.
I'm 10:25, so
Yeah, okay.
I'll eat my normal breakfast, but then as far as like fueling beforehand, we'll probably stick it more to like bringing a bagel with some jelly on it. Nothing too crazy. Like even if you eat that breakfast and then you don't eat for 3 more hours, like you're not going to use that fuel for anything in particular. Like you're not doing anything that is going to put you in an anaerobic state, hopefully between 7 and 10.
Hope not.
Like,
Chasing after the bus.
Right.
No,
What are
wait for
you
me.
doing? So in reality, like you're trying to just like top off glycogen with that. And so, okay, you're going to be perfectly fine. And then usually a gel at the starting line, and then going to that 20 grams essentially per 20 grams per 20 minutes is what it takes.
You got it
Got it
down to a
down.
science, man. You do.
Exactly.
Yes, because it does. I feel like it does matter. Like my fueling strategy for the first Boston was like, I don't know. They give out gels on the course, so I might as well take them. And like, I think I had 3 gels and absolutely cramped pretty bad up the hill.
Yeah.
And was like, I was super fatigued.
Is it easy for you to remember every 20 minutes or to look at your watch and not be off track?
So I am very fortunate and run hopefully 6-minute and 40-second miles. So every 3 miles, I get to take a gel.
That's
If
kind
it
of
all
easy
works
when you're
out,
passing
that'll be
and
it.
it's like
the
close
mile
enough.
markers on the course too. So that's pretty accurate.
It's close enough. So so
Nice.
640 to 650 puts you at 255 to 3 hours, somewhere in there. So that is really nice. But all of our watches, that you have fueling reminders on it. You just got to play around with them enough, and it'll tell you whether you
Gotta
can like
program
hear
it.
it or feel it. That's like a different story. So
Yeah,
Sounds
I don't go through the effort to do that half the time, and then I'm like, oh crap, it's been oh no, it's been 30 minutes.
yeah,
And I'm like,
do I take
well,
2? Do I take?
yeah, what do I do?
Like,
1.5 here? Like, oh my
gigantic
god.
glob of gel. Like, oh yeah,
Right. Right. And then I
that's-
just feel sick, and it's a pleasure. It's fun.
Yeah,
I
sure.
can't do gels. It's just
It adds to the
can't.
story.
No
What's
gel.
Katie going to be doing this entire time? Is she running? Is she cheering? Is she going to chase you along the course or just wait at the finish line? Do you know what her plan is?
Capital Grill fundraiser. So when she was in Boston, so she was a bartender and a teacher when she was in Boston. So she's still connected within the hospitality world out there. And we were able to purchase some tickets to go to the Capital Grill right before you make that left on Boylston. So she's going to be staring me right in the face for my last turn. She'll probably be like, let's see, I think there's a couple friends joining her, so she'll probably have a cocktail or two. But she'll
Good
be
for her.
Yeah, she'll make herself known.
Nice. I was actually at the Capitol Grill 2 nights ago in Minneapolis. So,
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's consistent. The last time she used to live on the Charles White Apartments, which are the apartments right before you take a right on Hereford. And so
Oh, no way.
she was standing out there, and it's so weird. Like, you go through all this effort, you're like struggling so much, and like you just focus in. Like, you have this sea of people, and somehow you're like, there they are. You know where they're going to be for the most part. But, and man, as soon as I saw them, which is like 25.75 miles in, something like that, like, I was a just sobbing mess. Like, the videos and pictures are just me crying, running by and stopping. And it's like, it's so emotional because you like put all this effort in, you put all this time, and like these people are like genuinely cheering for you that you love. And like, there's all these people around you. Like, you could, I talked to Dan, the beard, about this all the time. I'm like, dude, I just was like crying on my run today. And he's like, yeah, I've had a couple of those during this training block. And you're just so appreciative of like having the privilege of like, I don't need to be doing anything else with my time. Like, I am so privileged to be able to spend 7 to 10 hours a week, like going running. Like, that sounds so ridiculous. Like, I'm not having to go get a second job. I'm not going to have to do all these things. I get to run, and to have people like cheering me on for that is like nuts. It's like crazy. Like really, it really, really is. So it's always awesome to see the people along the course. Like,
Definitely.
it's so helpful.
The running community is just so ready to support everyone. And I love that about it, especially when it comes to Boston, because Boston is just so special. It's the oldest marathon in the country, at least. And it's just, the emotions do flow.
Yeah.
I got that way when I ran it, except you couldn't tell because I ran it in 2018 and it was cold, torrential downpour. But they were there. The tears were there.
Yeah.
And just, I get goosebumps even now. I'm not running, but just being a part of the atmosphere, just like helping lift these people up. That's something that I look forward to. So I am so happy that you are going to be out there and that we get to cheer you on, and that you're going to be able to see the sights again and hopefully crush this one just like you want to.
Yeah, thank you. I think this time around I'll also be able to like pay attention to what's going on around me, because the first time I was like so in my head about what I was doing, and this time it's like, okay, like I know the course somewhat after having run it.
Yeah, but you got your big goal though. You want to be able to focus up and crush it.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited, man. When you hit mile 19, called about 19.2, just after the aid station,
Okay.
you're going to see us on your left, right around the Johnny Kelly statue. There's an intersection, and that's where we'll be, right before the hills. We'll have that power up boost sign for you to get up those hills. No bulldozer. Sorry, I can't do that yet. If I could, I would, man, but I'm pumped, dude. But we are not done yet. We have a couple final big questions we ask all our guests, and then we'll give you some time to pump the tires for everything else you do. But I'm going to go first here, Mike.
Okay.
Every year, I like to think of a new question and ask my guests all the same question and see who they'd pick. So I'm envisioning having an on-the-runs pasta dinner one day, a big dinner where we get the pre-race meal, whatever you like, if you want to get those
noodles.
butter noodles, right? But
Digestives.
You can bring anyone in the world, alive or dead. Who are you bringing? We've had some really cool people here. We've had, Jesus is coming already. Lewis Hamilton is going to be there. Like, we got some cool guests. No Forrest Gump yet, but, maybe that will happen later in the year. Who are you going to take to our on the runs pasta dinner as your plus one?
Okay. So I'm going to give you two answers. One is funny just because I think it would be funny to do this, but to bring Steve Carell as Michael Scott.
Yes.
But he has to stay in character the entire dinner. By the way, I actually met Steve Carell, by the way.
No way.
He would not remember, like we met. I ran into him on the street and told him he ruined my life in college. And
I'm sure he loved to hear that.
Yeah, well, okay, so real quick. He's on the phone. I'm going to get coffee for me and a coworker, and he's on the phone. I say, I can't say anything. I don't want to be rude. I go get the coffee. I'm like, okay, if he's not on the phone when I come out of here, I'm going to say it. And like literally as I'm opening the door, this is like back in the time of flip phones, like literally off his phone. And I just go, Steve, you ruined my life in college. And he's like, excuse me? And I said, my name is Michael Scott. And it didn't click. And
what?
And then it did. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, hey, man, like my hands are like full of coffee. I'm like spilling all over myself. I'm like, I got to go. But like, I can't believe I get to tell you that. And so that's like my Steve Carell story. And so I feel like Michael Scott rolling up to the OTR dinner would be really good.
That's fantastic. This is why I asked this question, man. Like that was creativity to the max right there.
Yeah. Maybe I'll leave it at that. I won't even go with my actual choice, but yeah, I'll leave it there. Yeah, that would have been good.
Though.
It's all right. I went to college at Plymouth State, and we had this big painting on the wall that someone drew all the regulars at the bar, like as cartoon characters, being in their exact spot, drinking their beer. One was a big sports fan. He would be in the corner watching it was the Cowboys. And I'm like, it would be really cool if I could kind of do the same thing. So last year we had the Code Brown commandments, and we made a huge list of Code Brown commandments, like advice for runners. My own Code Brown commandment was diaper rash cream cures chafing overnight. So like those kind of tips, right? And we made the list like a poster, and we're dropping them on Instagram throughout the year. And this one's cool. I would love to like find someone who could do a picture of all our guests and their plus one. So we have like Michael Scott's now there. We have Jesus. We have a dog who's coming. That's pretty great.
That's
a couple
a good
people
dinner.
did pick multiple, and I didn't stick to the rule of one, but I appreciate you sticking to one.
Yeah. Just I got to sneak it in there. My other one would be my wife, just because we don't get out enough together. So
yeah, I know that
I
feeling.
Bring her anyway.
She could. She would definitely be entertaining. It would be good. But yeah, but for now, Michael Scott, the character.
Nailed it.
That's a great question.
Thanks, man.
I don't think mine's gonna top this. Not anywhere near it. But Mike, we have a Spotify playlist, and I refuse to change my question because I just love it so much. It's
been the same question for 4 years now, man. It'll be there again in 34 years.
That's fine. I'm sure it's a good playlist.
It's got a little bit of everything, so it's fun to just peruse it while you're on a run and see what hits and what doesn't, and yeah, you learn something new, find a good song.
Yeah,
But would you like to add something to the list?
of course. Before I tell you, I will say, Eric, my marathon and running playlist has been the same for 4 years, so it's okay that it's
The
been the same
playlist can stay
question.
the same. I'm like,
Yeah,
I just
mine.
love giving her a hard time.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm not changing it.
the one song like over the years that has just always like pumped me up is Assassin by Muse. It is not
Ooh.
one of their well-known songs, but you would be hard pressed to find a rock song that goes harder than that. That's not like metal.
Mhm.
It is from the start just high energy, and that just always
Perfect addition.
always pumps me up. So that that's
Excellent.
That's
And you
it.
have your tried and true music. No need to change it up. You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
works
for
for you
sure.
and what's
It's
going to
like
get you
I
pumped
know,
into those
and I'll
runs.
add like I don't know every training block. I'll probably at this point can be a little bit more picky, and there's probably like okay, I should probably add like 4 songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So staying on the music theme really quick. I don't know how we're doing
Yeah.
on time or whatnot, but so the last song I added to my playlist before I ran London was Outro by M83.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, good song.
And I'm like, I want this to be the song that I cross the finish line to, but you have no control. Like, I'm not going to pull my phone out.
Right.
I'm trying to like go for a PR. Like, I'm not going to do that if it's close, and it's going to be close. Like, I know myself. And so I'm like running and running and running and running and running. And like in London, you're running and like you see Buckingham Palace is like basically the finish line. And I see it, and I'm like, okay, like whatever. And sure enough, the friggin' song comes on. Just it doesn't play in order, like it's on shuffle. Like it is not going anywhere. It's not just because it's the last song I added. Totally out of order. There's more than 3 hours of music on this playlist. And sure enough, that bad boy comes on. And I'm just like,
it's fate.
Yeah, exactly. Like just crying again, running marathons. Like doesn't matter where I am. But sure enough,
I cried at London too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I guess it's a thing. It's a thing.
Well, London holds my PR currently. I ran it in 2021 and
Nice.
I still have yet to beat it. And it was just such a magical race because it was the first London post-COVID.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was so like well attended. There were people everywhere.
It
and
was
so
last
I
year.
just
Yeah.
it's such a vibe there, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now, but I totally get it.
Right.
These majors are just something else.
They are. And Eric, I see that you're running New York.
Yes, it's my first major. I'm pretty excited, man.
He's gonna get a taste.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a taste of these world majors.
I hear wonderful things about it. So I always thought, like, I was like, how can anything top Boston? And then London, like those people go hard. The whole weekend itself was a little bit different. It's a much bigger city, so like things are like really so spread out. You don't get the same sense of like that the marathon is going on necessarily. But those people really like to party, and that is what the marathon was. It was so crazy to see like 12 people deep the entire time, and that was just like really cool. And it must have been so much more special, and like people just want to get out so bad after COVID that must have been absolutely nuts. Yeah. But
I think that was the only marathon where I don't think I walked at all. Like I'm not a super fast marathoner, but I did. That was the very first time I ever cracked 4 hours.
Nice.
And I was just like, I was out of it afterwards. I was
not
so
the last
exhausted.
time, though.
No.
Not going to be the last.
Hopefully
This
not.
girl
That's my
got
goal for
herself
this
a
year.
coach this year.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
good.
We'll see. But yeah, just the majors are something so special. But honestly, Boston kind of tops it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like sentimentality, like you said, the significance of it. Longest running marathon in the world, right? World, yeah. It's right in our backyard here for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, it was your backyard.
Yeah,
too,
it was.
so
It was. Yeah.
You can still say that.
Yeah.
Ever plan on coming back to the Northeast?
Like permanently?
Yeah, like one day.
Have you seen the beach in January?
No,
Here? It
I have
doesn't.
not.
It doesn't
I've
look.
seen Hampton
Yeah.
Beach in January.
It doesn't look like snow.
Touche.
In reality, like, and I'm sure Katie could like plant a seed and incept me somehow. Like, if I could move my practice online and I could, if I get more run coach clients, like, is it a possibility? Absolutely. We still have friends and family that live back there that we love dearly. So it'd be tough to give it up. The weather is just such a huge plus, but
Yeah.
there's a lot like traffic. I'm about to go sit in probably an hour and 20 minutes of traffic to go 16 miles.
Oh.
So it's
So that's not one
it's
of
a
the fun
negative,
parts of
but I
living
mean, there's
out there.
traffic in Boston too, but
So, hey, I got two more quick ones for you.
shoot.
One, I want you to pump the tires for your practice and tell everyone, like, do you do everything just in-house or virtually? Are you coaching as well? And then number two, we've had a couple of these throughout the history of the podcast, but I want to hear the love story of you and Katie here and how it matched up, because you're both
Dude,
New Hampshire and now you're California.
you're about to add like 40 minutes to this podcast.
Oh boy.
We'll go. I'll try to give the like 20,000 foot
version.
overview. So I am all in person for my PT practice, Kinetic Potential Physical Therapy. I'm located on the west side of Los Angeles. Like, anyone who's in Los Angeles will know, there's like the west side, there's the east side, there's Beverly Hills. It's very close to Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Santa Monica. All in person. All of my run coaching clients are actually virtual. There's no California people, so, which is fine. Which is great, actually. Get different people of different abilities to meet their goals. I have some Boston people. I have someone running a half marathon, the Philly. I forget what the actual name of the race is this coming weekend.
Oh, the Love Run, I think, right?
Yes,
Something like
yes,
that.
that's what it is. Yeah, and no shame in saying my first coaching client ever was my mom. She reached out and she's like, "I want you to get me to be able to run a 5K." My mom's 70. She never run a day in her life, and I was
That's
like,
incredible.
"Let's do it." And so she actually was able to actually run a 5K this year, which was like nuts.
That's
Beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, so
Great.
that
That's
was
awesome.
really
Good
really
for her.
Yeah, it was like, whoa. You want to do what? And then, we spelled it out, and it took 4 months, but she did it, and she did great too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So all in person. I started working primarily with golfers about 11 years ago, and still work mainly with golfers in person, despite my passion. And like, anytime I have time to read anything is really about running at this point. But I also do.
Yeah.
I know a tremendous amount about golf. It's just, those are the people I work with in person. Like I said before, if you saw me online, you think run. But if you know me in person, it's just a mix of kind of everything.
Perfect.
As far as
All-rounded.
Katie and I go, man, back in college, my brother started dating a woman, Katrina, who is now his wife. Katrina went to Keene State.
Okay.
And
Is she a dental hygienist?
no, that's my sister-in-law,
Okay.
Jenna.
Who is my dental hygienist, by the way,
Jenna's
Eric. Connect those
wonderful.
dots.
I saw these connections and it's
Jenna
unreal.
she is a gem of a human. So you're very lucky. And so Katrina is my sister-in-law. So my brother would go to Keene State, and he was at Bentley, and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Down to party." And so I would go with him to Keene State, and one of Katrina's best friends happened to be Katie.
Mhm.
And Katie and I were always in different relationships. And we're always friendly and developed like a good friendship. But it was like, when I was there, like, we were the wallflowers. Like, okay, like, everyone else is pairing off and we're in different relationships. So it was always nice to just see her. And then we kind of fell out of touch for a couple years. So I was married and got divorced when I moved out here. And then I got remarried a couple years later, actually, and was widowed. And so I was coming off the death of my wife, and my brother invited me to a New Year's Eve trip in Tahoe. And so I'm like, yeah, like, I'll go if I'm feeling up to it. And sure enough, I woke up, and that, like, literally that day, decided, okay, I'm going to go up there. This was for New Year's. And I'm driving up, and my brother's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be like 20 of us there. And so it's like, cool, let's go. I'm not gonna ski. I'm just gonna like hang out, whatever. He's like, yeah, fine, come. And I go to Tahoe. I knock on the door. Someone screams, it's open. I open up the door and I open it, and Katie's on the couch. And I'm just like, oh, this weekend has changed. We hadn't talked.
Okay.
We hadn't talked in like 7 years. And I was just like, there was always like something there. Like clearly we ended up getting married. Like,
yeah.
There was always really good energy, really good friendship. And I was like, oh, this is a way different weekend than I thought. And so, but she still lived in Boston at the time. And so we were the only two people who didn't ski because she was training for Boston, didn't want to get hurt skiing. And anytime I get hurt, I can't work. And if I can't work, I don't get paid. And so I have bills to pay.
Pretty important.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm pretty averse to skiing and other things like that. So we end up trying to go sledding, and everything always ended up just like being at the bar because there were so many people for New Year's at Tahoe that it's like any sledding hill was like packed. We did get in a snowball fight with some little kids. But like for the most part, we were there, like people would come back from skiing, and it was just like one big dance party, and it was a great time. So a month later, Katie was coming out again to visit Katrina just in February. And I actually called my sister-in-law and was like, hey, this is going to be crazy, but can I steal Katie for one day? And because I want to take her on a date. And so Katie has been coming to Los Angeles for a long time to see Katrina and Brian, but had never really gotten a good sense of Los Angeles. And I actually, got around in Los Angeles pretty frequently at the time. And so I like took her around and like kind of showed her downtown and things like that. And I had been planning a solo camping trip up in Banff, Canada for the summer. I was going to go up there, and she asked me if she could join me for that trip. And I said, yeah, absolutely. More the merrier. Still just friends at this point. And through talking about that and like constantly having to plan and be on the phone, like obviously like feelings and a relationship developed that way. And so she came out in February. I was going back. I had a trip already planned to go back in Boston in March for St. Patrick's Day. So same thing. Got to see Katie in March. She was a teacher. At that point, I was like, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but if you want, come stay with me for the summer. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's perfect.
She never left. So it all
Oh,
worked.
Wow.
But yeah, it was like,
story.
our worlds were in orbit for a long time. I think it was something like 14 years that we had known each other before we ever even went on a date.
Wow.
So, and we didn't know each other growing up, even though we grew up 4 miles from each other.
Right, because she's Sandown or Danville, right?
Sandown.
Sandown.
She'll kill me if I got
Crazy.
that wrong. I'm confidently saying that, but I actually don't know. She's from Timberlane.
Yeah, we got the 4 towns there.
Yeah.
I'm a Sandonian, as I like to call it too. I grew up in
Sandonian.
Sandown. So, dude, great story. We've had some people come on and tell us some great love stories too on the pod. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing everything about your life, your running, your work,
My
your
pleasure.
kids and everything. This
Yeah,
was great. It
this
was a
was
great
awesome.
time.
I love this.
Yeah, so many dots that were connected here, more than what I even thought.
I can't believe how many.
This is 20 years in the making. In
Yeah,
reality, like
Right?
it was when were the timelines going to converge, and now they have, and
right.
yeah, it was great.
Because I've seen pictures of you for years, just like scrolling through Facebook, and I know Katie had a baby and Katie's married, and then all of a sudden, like I said, you started following. You actually started tagging us in some fun content.
Yeah, sure.
And it must have been around the time we
it.
had Beard on, and I was like, I feel like I should know who this guy is. Not like you're a big time influencer, but like I feel like I actually know you, but I don't know how. And it was just seeing all the family photos on Instagram and Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, you get to see the family stuff. That's one thing. Like, I don't know social media etiquette or necessarily care about it that much. Like, I tag 20 people in like every post, and it's like
It's
If-
what you got to do.
If you're down to
Like,
laugh,
I don't do that, but I've learned that's really what
We
I
are.
got to do.
yeah, and
We are down to laugh.
well, there's that favorites function. You hit the star, and
Yeah.
like it's another way. Like if you tag me in a post, like I'm gonna like it, like, and that helps you guys out, and you
Yes.
would help me out, and so like it's a way that you don't necessarily have to like have a favorites thing. You can just like guarantee your stuff shows up, and if you like it in your
Smart.
messaging thing, like whatever, like it's great. It's all helpful. We all gotta like help rise
Yeah.
each other up, like through
Exactly.
through the noise.
Well, I love what you're doing, man. I find it entertaining, and when you actually read the captions, it can be educational. Like I wrote in my intro, you do this in an educational and entertaining kind of way, all in one post. Your stuff's
The
funny.
best of both worlds.
Yeah,
honestly.
we could have played so many reels, but we're not going to make everyone listen to them when they
They
can't
just gotta
see
follow
them.
you. Where can they follow you?
Okay, so people can follow me on Instagram at Kinetic Potential PT, just all one word, and on TikTok at runners_u. And I will be probably on Boston Marathon weekend switching over my Instagram handle to runnersu of some sort. It's taken already. But
We're going to have you back to talk all about Runners U. We didn't even talk about the Runners University.
I'm down, man. I'm down. Next time I'll probably have a beverage though. That's
Absolutely.
we're down. Maybe, I was going to say maybe when you're back and visiting family, but I don't want to take away from family time. That's the beauty of this. We can do it virtually. We'll do it, man. We'll have you back. We'll talk all Runners University and everything else you got going on. Thank you so much. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed the real Michael Scott on the On the Runs podcast. That was wicked awesome.
Thanks, guys. It was wonderful to be here.